Hey guys, this is Jason here. I just really want to thank you for checking out my channel. This is a brand new channel. So what that means is that if you guys want to support me for making more videos like this, please like the video and also subscribe. That would mean so much to me. That would help out where we can get more people seeing these videos, and then we can start a community of like-minded finance people. Today we're going to talk about inflation. So a lot of times when I think of inflation, I think, oh no, this is scary, this is bad, everything's gonna go up. Well, that's actually misconstrued. So the definition of inflation is the rise in price and the falling of the value that you can spend it on. So what that means is that I want you to imagine like you have a hole in your pocket and you keep cash in there. Every year, that money will fall out of your pocket, and so you're losing a little bit of money each year by just having it in your pocket. That's what inflation is. So it loses value over time. So who controls inflation? The Federal Reserve actually controls our inflation. Why do they control our inflation? It's actually, believe it or not, it's good for our economy. The Federal Reserve sets a 2% inflation rate every single year, and that's their target goal that they want to hit. Why would inflation be good for our economy? Well, I want you guys to think about it this way, okay? Let's say you want to buy a car, and the car costs $25,000, right? Well, this year it costs $25,000. Next year, it will cost $25,000 plus that 2%. And what that does is the company that makes that car, they can raise the price. And when they raise the price, what happens is that they will actually make more money for the car. And when they make more money for the car, their stock price will go up and helps the company makes more money over time. The company hires all of their employees, and so because their company is growing, what they're going to do is hire more employees, they're going to invest more into their business, and it really will grow their company even more. Because the employees deserve a good wage, generally what happens is that their wage will go up. And because an employee's wage will go up, what that means is that they're going to buy more things, and it's going to continue to spur the economy, making the economy grow further and further. So it really does help out the economy as a whole with inflation. However, the other side of inflation is that if we print or have too much money in the economy, that could actually cripple an economy. For example, Venezuela, which used to be actually a very rich country in Latin America, in 2016 they allow inflation to enter their economy. And the government official, they are known to be corrupt over there, they started pouring more money into the economy and printing the Bolivia. Prices just went up like crazy. So prices like bread, where they used to just give a paper of Bolivia, now they have to give a stack of Bolivia just to buy bread alone. So that actually hurts the people directly. Anyone that wants to buy anything at this point, they really can't afford it because the prices just goes up like crazy. The Federal Reserve has to see where they need to put inflation. If inflation goes too high, it can cripple the economy, but if it goes too low, it actually hinders the economy and stops it from growing. The inflation rate for the federal government is 2% for a reason. They have a target rate of 2%, and they believe that's what will grow the economy and really help it move along. Today, we're actually going to look at two things. We're going to look at why inflation could be bad and why inflation could be good. Reasons why inflation could be bad. The first obvious one is that inflation causes price to rise, which hurts you as a consumer. So when you buy anything, the prices rise up and hurts you when you buy anything. Let's say if you bought a burger. Because of inflation, prices of meat goes up, prices of the bun goes up, the prices of the cheese goes up, thus everything in that burger will increase. I used to be able to buy a whole meal at McDonald's for $5. At this point, I think it's gone up to like $6.75 for a combo meal. That's what happens when the price of inflation goes up. It now hurts your pocket. The second way that it hurts you is that if you actually save money, however, it depends on where you save money. There are some people that save money in their mattress, and that is just like, the dumbest thing. And when I say mattress, I don't mean literally underneath your mattress, but some people, they have money in their safe. They put money in their cookie jars. Some people I know, they put money in their closet. And so whatever it is, they have cash sitting around and they're holding on to it. And this is one of the worst way that inflation can hit you. Every year when you have thousands and thousands of dollars in cash, inflation hurts you. I know there's a lot of you guys that say, Jason, I don't carry cash at all. Cash is not very common. I'm a millennial. We Venmo and everything now for nowadays. But inflation can hit your bank account too. A lot of you guys have checking accounts and savings account. And you think to yourself, oh, don't worry, I have a savings account and I'm earning 0.25% interest in my money and everything. No, that actually is terrible. If inflation is going up at 2% and you're earning 0.25% per year on inflation, you're losing out on 1.75% every single year. It's in your savings account. So a savings account is actually a terrible way to put your money in a spot. Third reason, inflation will hurt you if your wage is not going up. If you're making, let's say, $50,000 a year, but your wage stays stagnant, that means that it's staying the same. That means that every single year, you're actually taking a pay cut, even though you probably don't realize it. I remember some of my coworkers telling me, oh, Jason, I'm so excited. I got a pay raise of 2%. I always thought to myself, well, you didn't really get a pay raise. You just got the same amount as you did last year, but you really don't know about it. But you know me, I'm not mean, so I just thought it to myself and I congratulated them. They don't know finance. It's okay. The fourth thing that inflation hurts is if, let's say, you're planning to buy a home. I know I live in Southern California, and so home prices are just ridiculous. And I know a lot of people who are saving for a home, and so they're saving for that down payment. Let's say if you're looking for a house that's $500,000, you need to save $50,000, which is a 20% down payment. That's the traditional method. I know there are other ways to pay less of a down payment, but the traditional route is 20%. The person that is saving $50,000 a year, let's say they're saving and saving and saving, and it takes them over a year. It takes them 2 years. Every year, they need to save 2% more of that money in order to buy a house. And when I mean 2% more, I'm not saying 2% of that $50,000 they need to save. No, they need to save 2% of that $500,000. That means next year, you would have to save up to $60,000. Ouch, that's a lot. Inflation does hurt a lot when you're trying to save for a house. Side note, guys, home prices tend to go up about 3% per year, not 2%. And this is added with inflation as well. So it's actually 3%. Ugh. Now we're going to talk about when inflation is good. Number one reason when inflation is good. Inflation is good actually when you have debt. When you have debt, what happens is every time you make a payment on it, you pay off your debt. A very good example is that I have a mortgage in a house that I bought back in 2014. It's an investment property, so what that means is that I rent out that property and I get an income for it. When I first bought it in 2014, I paid $500,000 for it, and I put down a 25% down payment, so my mortgage was roughly around $400,000. Okay, so let's run the numbers. With that $400,000 loan, I had to pay close to $2,000 worth of a mortgage. And let's just say $2,000 for easy numbers. I had to pay roughly around $150 for the insurance and around $250 for my property tax. That makes the grand total to $2,450. That's what I had to make sure that I had it rented out so I could actually cover my mortgage, property taxes, and insurance. Around that time, rents were about $2,400 to $2,500. I was able to rent it out for $2,400. So I actually lost $50 every single month holding on to this property. However, I knew that inflation will help me out in the long run. It is now 2019 and tenants have come and gone. I have raised prices throughout the year and currently I am renting it out for $3,000 a month. However, my mortgage is now $2,300 per month. You're asking, well, why did it go down to $2,300 per month? I actually refinanced the property back in 2016. I got a lower interest rate, which decreased my mortgage. But if you notice, the rent is $3,000. There is a big, and anything in between that $2,300 to $3,000, that's what I cash flow. And so what's great about inflation and rising market rent is that over time, you have a fixed payment that you're going to make. Because of inflation and cost of living, things rise up and you begin to reap the benefits of having more cash flow to your property. That's one of the biggest benefits for inflation when you have debt. Number two, like we talked about earlier, wages tend to rise. When wages increase, people tend to spend that extra amount that they have. And what that does for our economy is that it continues to grow our economy further and further, thus making the cycle grow and grow. And every year, as the wage increase, people tend to spend more and more, and it's a never-ending cycle. That's the hope of inflation. That is why the Federal Reserve have that 2% target rate. It keeps the US chugging along, and hopefully that will never end. Number three, inflation will continue to expand the US economy. Because wage increases are rising, businesses are confident and they will continue to invest more into with businesses investing more, hopefully there will be more productivity. Life will be a lot better for everyone else, and our US economy will continue to expand. Number four, this is actually one of my favorite ones because I actually grew my wealth from this, and so this holds dear to my heart. Inflation helps if you are investing. Because investing typically always beats the inflation rate, you actually make more money over time, beating inflation and making more of your money throughout the time. Investing is a big hedge against inflation. In conclusion, and I know that we talked about how inflation sucks and it hurts some people that do not know how to utilize it. However, if you know how to use inflation to your benefit, you actually gain so much more in the long run. In the future, when you're sitting around and your family's talking about inflation, or your friends during lunch is talking about how it's terrible, how rising cost is just eating at their wallets, you know why inflation is actually good for you and good for the economy if you know how to utilize it the right way. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks, guys.